went to another junkyard and got my wire. Just really did not want to splice this wire. There's a lot of current that goes through it. It would have been fine. I know it would have been fine. But the OCD or perfectionist in me, whatever you want to call it, had to just go to the junkyard and get another wire. So I'm going to take some time right now and go through this harness. I picked up, this is going to be very boring, so I'm not going to video, but I picked up a assortment of wire loom. The wire loom I had was too big. It's like, I've got a big spool of it, and I couldn't remember what size it was. I thought it was big, but it's like an inch or larger. And so I just picked up this. I'll put a link in the description if you need some. It seems like good quality. We'll see how it holds up. But I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna unwrap here, replace our power wire with this, and then I'm going to tape up the harness, just a loose wrap of tape around the harness to hold it together, and we'll put our wire loom on it. Now, just a little tip, when you do your wire loom, do like these are right here in your joints. Tape the, if you've got a spot where the loom splits out, tape up the wire real good right there, and make sure your wire loom does not run into any wires that are intersecting. That way the wire loom itself doesn't chafe a wire. So we're gonna go through that, and we will pick up after we are done. So here's our fan relay box. Probably got a better name for it. Pulled out of the junkyard, pulled out of a parts car, wiring harness stripped down and isolated, and then covered in wire loom and wrapped in tape. Well, the harness or the wires itself wrapped in tape, then the wire loom put on, then the wire loom wrapped in tape to make a really nice, better than OEM harness. And this is going to be standalone. I decided two reasons. One, if I ever sold the Suburban and want to put it completely back to stock, I can. Two, if I just easier, not having to open up my whole harness to put this wiring in. I can lay this beside the factory harness and just tie wrap it to it, which is just as good. And this harness will be nice and covered and should work well. And the only part of the harness I'm going to, I guess, integrate into my harness is the PCM part of it. And so, as you can see, I did not do anything with it. So we will open up my harness, pull the ECM out, and the wiring harness out, and integrate these wires into that harness. And so let's get busy doing that, and shouldn't be too difficult of a job. So the first step in disassembly, I think, to make this easy, since we're committed to doing this whole thing at once, originally I was just going to do the PCM harness part of it first, and then kind of do it in stages and then do the rest of it later. But since I've committed to doing it all now, I think to make things easy, we're going to go ahead, pull the fan shroud, pull the fan, just to get all that stuff out of the way so we can easily get to the PCM and just give ourselves some more room to work. We'll get all this stuff out of the way. So we're gonna have to undo the upper radiator hose. I'm probably just gonna undo it right here and kind of fold it up out of the way. You don't have to completely undo it. You're gonna have to pull this wire or this hose out of the way. Gonna have to take this plenum off. Then take these 2 bolts out. You've got some little quick connect or push fasteners on each side to pull the upper housing off. And then the bottom, I can't remember if it's bolted or if it just sits in a slot. I guess we'll see that after we get up all this out of the way. Then we're gonna have to undo the fan. You can get an air hammer on the nut or a big wrench and get that thing off. I normally use a wrench, big wrench, and then hit the wrench with the hammer to kind of unthread it or get it broken loose. So that's what I'm gonna do. Can't remember which way the threads go on that, so I'll look that up and let y'all know if it's standard rotation or reverse threads. But we will get the fan off, and then lower shroud off, and then we should be ready to go ahead. We'll take the PCM out just so we can easily get to the harness, and we're gonna need to open up this wire loom right here so that we can pull so we can insert those 2 wires that go in to the ECM connectors. There's 1 wire, I think, for each connector, if I remember right. And then I'll give more detail on that when we get to that, because I got to look up and see where they were on which plug and which position in each plug. I made note of all that when I pulled it out of the other vehicle. So let's get busy. All right, wide open spaces. So it is normal threads, so lefty loosey on the fan clutch, at least on mine. Before, when I replaced the fan clutch, I was able to put a wrench on it and hit the wrench with the hammer and, you know, knock it loose. I guess I put it on tighter than it was before because I could not get it loose like that. I could have put a wrench on the tensioner, and, you know, because what's happened is the belt is slipping. Could have put a wrench on the tensioner and put a little more tension on the belt, maybe get it to hold. But at that point, you know, I need 3 hands. So grab the air hammer and just put on the nut, and it knocked it loose. And then I just took the wrench and loosened it the rest of the way, and then spun it off by hand. So all that's out of the way. No real surprises here. Now we're going to dig into the PCM. We're going to go ahead and, depending on how easy the plug is to get out, we'll either pull the PCM out or we'll just undo the plug, but we need to get in to this harness. We're also going to go ahead and pull this hood support bracket, or fender support bracket, whatever you want to call that. We're going to pull that out because it's in the way, and we're going to go ahead and take this upper shell of the fuse panel off, and because we need to put our relay box over there under it. So that's what we're doing next. I think now is probably a good time as well to go ahead, and I'm going to undo the negative battery cable just to make sure we don't hurt anything in this process. Just 2 little tabs, or 2 little things, and you pull out on the cover, and that cover just lifts right off. So easy to get that thing off. So now we're going to pull the cover off the ECM, and from what I remember, it's got just some little push fasteners on it as well. Not push fasteners, but maybe it's here in the front. anyway, let's see. I don't remember if it's... Anyway, we'll pull this out and I'll show you how I get it out. So referencing back to the video I did, because I pulled the harness out months ago, I'm just now getting to this. So you're watching this, you know, one step at a time. But I did this months ago. So we've got the blue ECM plug. You've got a blue one and a green one. So blue ECM plug has the green wire in pin 42. And the green plug has the blue wire in pin, so this blue wire goes in pin 33. And so I'm going to, let's see, we need to go, we said, was it 42 on the blue plug? So I'm going to continue. I think what I'll do is actually lay my wire over this and not open this up anymore. We're just gonna have the loom opened up, the wire, the split loom, we'll have that opened up, and that way we're not introducing, we're not messing with these wires too much. We're just gonna lay ours over these that are already here, and then we're gonna tape completely over them, and then, you know, lay them up to here and tape them up. There's no reason to open this harness any more than it already is. We don't need to undo this side. We're just going to come up this side with the green wire and up this way with the blue wire. So let's, I'm going to need to undo this connector and this connector, and just be real careful not to damage anything here as we undo all of this. So I'm going to grab a little screwdriver, and I'm going to put time lapse back on, but I kind of explained it how I got it apart before in the junkyard, and so I think that's probably good. I'll slow down the time lapse speed just to give y'all a little more real time, but I'm going to take my time here, and so I don't really want to do real time recording because it would be really long. So let me get busy here. if you saw there, what I did is I took a sharpened piece of wire. Okay, let me back up a second. So if you look down in here, you'll see they've got like a little rubber, it's not really a plug, it's more of like I guess you could call it a seal. So what you want to do is take a small piece of wire, maybe sharpen the point of it, like, you know, solid wire, and shove back through here to pierce it so that it doesn't get removed, it just gets pierced, and then when you shove your wire through there, it kind of seals around the wire, kind of gives you a waterproof seal. So you don't want to poke too big of a hole in it. So, you know, find a decent, you know, a size wire to shove through it that's probably smaller than this, so that your hole is smaller than that when you shove the wire through, so it'll seal up. So I'm going to take some time. I'm going to get a rag, wipe down this harness real well, and then take some real good tape and tape up these wires, and I'll bring them up to about right here, and then have them come out of the harness. So about, you know, this point right here is about probably where they need to come out. So I'll wrap them up to where they kind of come out like that, to where we can plug into our fan harness. But not too difficult, just take your time. These plugs right here, there's a little plastic tab you can push in, get a little small pick, push in on that tab on each side, and these connect, these little the blue and green pieces just slide right off. Just be real gentle with this, be real gentle with these covers. You know, this plastic gets brittle with engine temps under here, so just be real careful with that stuff, and you shouldn't have any problems. And to me, that's the hard part is, or the scary part is, you know, messing with the connectors there. But that's, I guess, if you're gonna mess something up, that would be the worst possible scenario, would be to, you know, bend a pin or something on the ECM, the PCM. Anyway, so just be real careful when you put those connectors on. Make sure you tighten them down straight. You know, don't get them cocked to one side or anything. Just make sure, double, triple check to make sure you don't end up, you know, bending a pin, or, you know, have it not inserted quite correctly. It shouldn't be too easy to mess up, so just take care and take your time.